welcome to the 12th Annual General Meeting of the Fund. I have the pleasure of welcoming you to the 12th Annual General Meeting of the Stanbic Cash Trust, which I now declare open. I now call on the Secretary, A.C. Kurama Amwa, to read the notice of the meeting.
Notice of Virtual Annual General Meeting of Stanbic Cash Trust. Notice is hereby given that the 12th Annual General Meeting, AGM, of the unit holders of Stanbic Cash Trust, the Fund, will be held virtually on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, at 10 a.m. and shall be streamed live to all unit holders from Stanbic Business Incubator, Silver Star Tower, Airport City, Accra, for the transaction of the following business. Agenda 1. To receive the report of the manager of the fund for the year ended December 31, 2024. 2. To consider the trustees' reports and the reports of the auditors for the year ended December 31, 2024. 3. To receive and adopt the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2024. And 4. To authorize the manager to fix the remuneration of the auditors. Special business. 5. To amend the scheme particulars and trust deed of the fund to enable the fund manager to invest a maximum of 95% of the fund's assets under management, AUM, in money market securities and invest a minimum of 5% of the fund's AUM in cash and near cash securities, and ensure that with the exclusion of the existing exposure to the DDEP bonds, the fund's AUM shall not be invested in corporate bonds and government and quasi-government bonds and notes under normal market conditions. Dated 30th June 2025. By order of the manager, Stanbic Investment Management Services Limited, on behalf of the trustee, Universal Merchant Bank Limited. Notes: attendance and participation by all unit holders and or their proxies in this year's AGM of the fund shall be strictly virtual, that is by online participation. A unit holder entitled to attend and vote at the AGM may appoint a proxy to attend via online participation and vote on his or her behalf. Such a proxy need not be a unit holder of the fund. The appointment of a proxy will not prevent a unit holder from subsequently attending and voting at the meeting via online participation. Where a unit holder attends the meeting in person via the online portal, the proxy appointment shall be deemed to be revoked. Accessing and voting at the virtual AGM. To gain access to the virtual AGM, unit holders must visit https://simscisagm.com and input their unique token number on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. For unit holders who do not submit proxy forms to the trustee of the fund prior to the meeting, they may vote electronically during the virtual AGM again using their unique token number. Further assistance on accessing the meeting and voting electronically can be found on https://simscisagm.com. Thank you.
Thank you, AC. The first item on the agenda is to receive the report of the manager of the fund for the year ended December 31, 2024. I call upon Ms. Santisaki to read the report of the manager to unit holders. Thank you.
Good morning, unit holders and partners, and thank you for joining the meeting. So I'll be sharing highlights of the fund manager's report for 2024, which was shared ahead of the meeting. So in 2024, foreign investor interest in the fixed income markets grew following the Eurobond debt exchange and Ghana's subsequent rating upgrade from Fitch. Conversely, local investors preferred short-term securities as uncertainties around the upcoming presidential elections posed risks. Treasury bill yields for 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day instruments ended 2024 at 28, 28.03, 28.68, and 30.07% respectively, making the new DDEP bonds less attractive to investors. Looking ahead in the fixed income market, a potential yield curve reset is anticipated, with short-term yields projected to decline from the mid-20s in 2024 to the mid-teens in Q1 2025. Riskier papers are expected to reprice above Government of Ghana Treasury papers. Furthermore, an extension of the monetary policy tightening cycle will anchor bank fixed deposits above Treasury rates. Given the reinvestment opportunities, this development could benefit market participants aiming to exit their DDEP bond holdings at a marginal discount. Stanbic Cash Trust assets grew by 81% in 2024, closing the year at 779 million Ghana cedis. The fund's assets were split between 261 million Ghana cedis for the main class and 518 million Ghana cedis for the subclass. The fund had about 26% of its assets in bonds, 52% in short-term fixed deposits, and 22% in cash and near cash. The fund achieved a return of 19.47 for the main class, while the subclass returned 22.1%. This was a significant recovery from the fund's performance in 2023 of minus 15.7% for the main class and 18.7% for the subclass. The conclusion of the debt exchange program, leading to an improvement in bond trading activity, spurred this turnaround performance. Going forward, Stanbic Cash Trust will maintain its purpose as a money market fund, catering to investors with short-term investment goals and liquidity. The fund will continue to invest in high-quality fixed deposits and other short-term investments with a proposed revised mandate of up to 95% in money market securities, whilst maintaining a minimum of 5% in cash and near cash securities. The fund shall not invest in any additional Government of Ghana or quasi-Government of Ghana bonds or notes under normal market conditions. Overall, the fund's objective is to optimize short-term income and liquidity. Thank you.
Thank you, Santi. The next item on the agenda is to consider the trustees' report. I now call upon Mr. Eric Ajay-Yabua to read the trustees' report for the year ended December 31, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to all our cherished unit holders. Report of the trustees to the unit holders of Stanbic Cash Trust Fund. In our opinion, as trustees, according to the information made available to us and the explanation provided, we confirm that in all material respects, the manager has managed the scheme during the period covered by this financial statement in accordance with the trust deed dated 6th day of November 2011, as amended on 6th day of July 2023, and all regulations for the time being in force under the Securities Industry Act 2016 at 929, as amended in Securities Industry Amendment Act 2021 at 1062, and the Unit Trust and Mutual Funds Regulation LI 1695. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ajay-Yabua. I'll now ask the auditor, Baker Tilly Under and Under, to read their report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Report of the independent auditor to the unit holders of Stanbic Cash Trust Fund. Opinion. We have audited the financial statement of Stanbic Cash Trust, which comprise the statement of assets, liabilities as at 31st December 2024, income and distribution accounts, portfolio statements, and capital accounts for the year then ended, and notes forming part of the financial statement, which includes a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory notes as set out on pages 23 to 30. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position of the fund as at 31st December 2024 and its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with the IFRS accounting standard and in the manner required by the securities industry standard and in the manner required by the by the Security Industry Act 2016, Act 929, as amended in the Security Industry Amendment Act 2021, Act 1062, the Unit Trust and Mutual Fund Regulations 2000 LI 1695, and Trust Deed dated 16 November 2011, as amended on 6 July 2023. Basis for opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with international standard on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statement sections of our report. We are independent of the fund in accordance with the International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, including International Independence Standards, the code issued by the International Ethics Standard Board for Accountants. We have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Key audit matters. Key audit matters are those matters that, in our professional judgment, were most significant in our audit of the financial statements of the current period. They are matters to be addressed in the context of our audit of the financial statement as a whole and informing our opinion thereon. We do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. There were no material key matters to be reported. Other information. The manager is responsible for the other information. The other information comprises the information included in the annual report, does not include the financial statements and our audit report thereon. Our opinion on the financial statement does not cover the other information, and we do not express any form of assurance conclusion thereon. In connection with our audit of the financial statement, our responsibility is to read the other information and in doing so, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the financial statements or our knowledge obtained in the audit, or otherwise appears to be materially misstated. If based on work that we have performed, we conclude that there is a material misstatement of this other information, then we are required to report that fact. We have nothing to report in this regard. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. Compliance with the requirements of Part 9 of Schedule 8 of the Unit Trust and Mutual Fund Regulation 2001, LI 1695, we confirm that we have obtained all the information and explanations which to the best of our knowledge and belief were necessary for the purposes of the audit. In our opinion, proper books of accounts have been kept by the fund so far as appears from the examination of those books. The fund's financial statements are in agreement with the books of accounts. In our opinion, The fund generally complied with the relevant provisions of the Security Industry Act 2016, Act 929, as amended in the Security Industry Amendment Act 2021, Act 1062. The engagement partner on the audit resulting in this independent auditor's report is Samuel Abiao. Thank you.
Thank you for the auditor's report. I now call on Ms. Paulina Okine to present the highlights of the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I present the financial highlights for the Stanbic Cash Trust for the year end 2024. Referencing page 16 of the audited financials, we note that the net assets grew significantly from a base of 430 million in 2023 to 773 million in 2024. That was an 80% growth year on year. The strong growth was mainly driven by the subclass, which is the AMC, that was launched at the latter part of 2022 to address the liquidity needs of our clients. The AMC, which was set up, was funded with a strategy of focusing on highly liquid short-term instruments like the fixed deposits. As a result of the growth and the strategy, we can note the shift in the asset allocation slightly, with money markets shifting from a 49% to a 52% of the total portfolio mix, whilst the government of Ghana securities was diluted and reduced from a holding of a 50% to a 26%. And this is reflective of the liquid strategy that was adopted for the fund. Moving on to page 18 of the audited financials, we note that the year ended with a total income of 124 million, which was a significant improvement of a prior year's loss of 14 million. The income was mainly driven by returns earned on the back of the short-term investments that we made, as the fund took advantage of the favorable interest rate environment we enjoyed in 2024. Expenses, on the other hand, grew from 11.7 million in 2023 to end at 15.9 in 2024. That was a 36% increase, and it was primarily because of the asset growth. Despite the growth in the expense, cost was well maintained and is reflective in the total expense ratio, which ended the year at 2.05%, indicating that despite a growth in the assets, expenses grew at a slower pace comparatively. In total, the fund ended with net gains of 109 million compared to a net loss in 2023 of 25 million in prior year. In summary, 2024 was a very good year for the fund, with strong income growth and disciplined cost management. Despite the high expense on the fund the fund maintained efficiency, and that led to a significant turnaround in the fund's performance and profitability. That concludes the key highlights of the financials. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Okine. The next item on the agenda is the consideration of the fund manager's report for adoption. I now call on the Secretary, Ms. Samoa, to take us through the comments and voting process on the motions put forward.
Case the chat box at the right or bottom side of your screen. Type and submit your comments and questions. How to cast your vote. We have provided two options to enable you partake in the voting exercise in real time. To vote via the online platform, kindly locate the vote box on the bottom of your broadcast screen and follow these steps. 1. Enter the unique token number used to join the meeting. Secondly, click Cast Your Vote. Once you have done this, you will see a list of resolutions to be voted for. Follow the voting process by clicking the plus sign, then select your voting option. To vote via short code, dial *899*3# on your phone. Enter the unique code used in joining the meeting. Once you have done this, you can now select your vote option and send. You cannot vote once the chairperson closes the vote. Thank you.
Fund Managers Report for the year ended December 31, 2024, and submitted to the meeting. Be and is hereby received and adopted. Would someone please second this motion? To second this motion, kindly go to the chat box, type your full name, and then type seconded.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Eugenia Naka Ilomo seconds the motion.
Motion seconded. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, we have a question from Dr. Gershon Kofi Adjadi. The question is it not possible to insure our investments against external shocks that will erode interest on investments as experienced with the haircut?
This will be answered by the manager of the fund.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When we talk about external shocks, one significant factor we look at is impact on our currency. And that's where we lose the value of our currency against major trading currencies like the US dollar. So we are looking at a deep depreciation of the currency. As we speak, there is nothing like insurance against such an impact when it comes to the currency. But if we see the gains that has been made this year in terms of how the macroeconomics have been managed, we've actually seen the CD appreciate against the major currencies like the US dollar more than 40% for the year. And we've also seen inflation decline significantly to 13.7% as at end of June. And we've seen treasury rates also decline significantly into the mid-teens. The work that the fund can do is to ensure that our CD investment at any point in time is generating returns that is able to outpace inflation and preserve the value of your currency in terms of managing the purchasing power of your investments. And that we work on a daily basis to mix our investment solutions to deliver that for our clients. Thank you.
Ms. Samoa, are there any further questions?
Mr. Chairman, there are no further questions.
I now open the online platform for voting on the motion to adopt the fund manager's report for the year ending 2022. Voting is closed. Thank you. Madam Secretary, please read votes cast on the screen.
Mr. Chairman, at the end of the voting, 81 persons voted for the motion. No one voted against the motion, and no one abstained from the motion.
Thank you. I declare the motion has been duly carried. I hereby move that the trustees' report for the year ended 2024 and submitted to the meeting be and is hereby received and adopted. Would someone please second this motion?
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Marian Christabel Uforiwa Atabuahene seconds the motion.
Motion seconded. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, please, we have no questions in the chat box.
Platform for voting on the motion to adopt the trustees' report for the year ended 2024. Is closed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, at the end of the voting, 70 people voted for the motion, 1 person voted against the motion, and 2 persons abstained from the motion.
Thank you. I declare the motion has been duly carried. I hereby move that the statement of assets and liabilities account as of December 31, 2024, together with the income and distribution accounts and the auditor's report thereon for the year ended on that date and submitted to the meeting be and are hereby received and adopted. Would someone please second this motion?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Augustine Homenyo seconds the motion.
Seconded. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, there are no questions in the chat box.
I now open the online platform for voting on the motion to adopt the financial statements report for the year ended 2024. Thank you.
Eighty-seven persons voted for the motion. No one voted against the motion, and no one abstained from the motion.
Motion has been duly carried. Auditors' remuneration. The next item on the agenda is to fix the remuneration of the auditors, Baker, Tilly, Under, and Under, in respect of the year ending December 31, 2025. In line with best practice and as mentioned at last year's AGM, I hereby take this opportunity to move that the manager be and is hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditor for the year ending December 31, 2025. Would someone please second the motion?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Samuel Owusu seconds the motion.
Would motion is seconded. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, there are no questions in the chat box.
for voting on the motion to fix the remuneration of the auditors for the year ended 2025. Voting is closed. Thank you.
At the end of voting, 64 persons voted for the motion, 9 persons voted against the motion, and 6 persons abstained from the motion.
I declare that the motion has been duly carried. I hereby move for a special resolution to be passed to amend the scheme particulars and trust deed of the fund to enable the fund manager to invest a maximum of 95% of the fund's assets under management in money market securities and invest a minimum of 5% of the fund's AUM in cash and near cash securities, and also ensure that with the exclusion of the existing exposure to the DDEP bonds, the fund's AUM shall not be invested in corporate bonds and government and quasi-government bonds and notes under normal market conditions. Would someone please second this motion?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Alfred Elolo Konglo seconds the motion.
Seconded. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting?
Two questions in the chat box. One says they need clarity on the assets of the SCT AMC 95/5. The second one says, can that be explained a bit more? And then the third question is, what is the impact of this decision in simple terms? I hear some conversation about mark-to-market upon withdrawal. The first question is for Mr. Leopold Blay. The second one is from Felix Afanam and Mrs. Christiana Afanam. And the third one is Mr. Ismail Ibn Ibrahim. Thank you.
Questions?
In simple terms, what we are seeking to do with the mandate change is to align the mandate which is stated in our scheme particulars and our trust deed to reflect the current strategy of the fund, which is to be a short-term money market fund which has minimal volatility and also provides liquidity. So what we want to do is to change the existing mandate, which has a minimum of 80% in Government of Ghana securities and a maximum of 20% in money market securities. And we want to change this to focus on money market securities of up to 95%, whilst we hold a minimum of 5% in cash and near cash. And what we are saying is that we do not want to invest in bonds going forward. And so besides the existing DDEP bonds, which the main fund is holding, and we are not seeking to buy any more bonds, given that this is positioned as a short-term money market fund. And so these are the reasons for the change in the mandate.
Mr. Chairman, we have another question on the remuneration of the auditors, but this has been voted on already. So the fund manager would respond to the questions after the meeting.
I now open the online platform for voting on the motion to amend the scheme particulars and trust deed of the fund as aforementioned. Voting begins now. closed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, at the end of voting, 88 persons voted for the motion, 2 persons voted against the motion, and 4 persons abstained from the motion.
I declare that the motion has been duly carried. Now, let me add that all questions asked after the relevant motions had been carried will be responded to by the fund manager after the AGM. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of SIMS, the manager for the Stanbic Cash Trust, I would like to thank you for your continued interest in the fund's affairs and for attending this meeting. I hereby declare the meeting formally closed. Thank you.